Okay, Ashley, can I have roll call, please?
Klatt,
Here.
Vedbrotten,
Here.
Melby,
Here.
Jurdy,
Here.
Erickson,
Here.
Briggs,
Here.
Cavalier,
Here.
Kressel.
Here.
Okay, this is time for the open forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda, may come to the podium. State your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none from the council chambers. Ashley.
Chad, is there anyone waiting on the phone bridge?
One on the bridge.
Could you please sign up?
Agent logged off.
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Presentations. We have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
Second, Your Honor.
Delane.
Delane? Okay. Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Klatt,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Got Joe and
Don.
Don.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Klatt,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Okay, this brings us to the public hearing. Ashley.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 7.01 is a public hearing on the question of modifying the enabling resolution concerning the Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority. Individuals may address the council with a maximum of 5 minutes is allotted for each individual.
Open this public hearing. Amy, would you give us a brief presentation, please?
Yes, I will. Council members and Mayor, you have seen this handout in your email, but what is up on the wall is just an illustration to kind of cover what we're talking about tonight on what is being referred to as Finch's Proposal 3. So at the top, Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority. The entity, Cheetah, as we all commonly refer to it, exists, remains in existence. For this presentation, I've called it Crookston Housing, and I'll get to that here in just a second. Right underneath that, you'll see a box that says Economic Development Authority Powers. To the right of that is Housing and Redevelopment Authority Powers. Those sets of powers today currently exist under Cheetah and will continue to exist as Cheetah will remain. However, as we will get down through the proposal here in a minute, the EDA powers, if you will, would essentially sit dormant unless they would be needed for a certain activity that the city cannot exercise under their powers. There's been a lot of discussion about EDAs having powers that the city doesn't have. As we've heard in prior discussions, those are really hard to nail down. It's hard to identify. The EDA can create boundaries. There's certain land reverter powers that the EDA has. What I would envision is the EDA powers would not be utilized under Crookston Housing Board unless the Community Development Director determined that that path was needed to perform a certain function. The Housing and Redevelopment of Powers, the HRA, as we've been talking about it, would continue to exist under the Crookston Housing Board and would become the board's main focus. The bulk of the activity that the board would consider, discuss, the board now is doing those things. We often see the housing items under consent agenda, payments, those types of things. What's in the center there is a representation of a seven-member board, same number of board members that exist today. In this proposal that you will consider on the first regular agenda item, the Crookston Housing Board would be made up of 7 members of the council, as appointed as Crookston Housing Board members. Down below, I showed Crookston Housing staff. Those are supported by the housing budget. That's true today. And my proposal would be that that would continue to exist in the future. But remember that those staff members report to the board, not to the city administrator or to members of the city council seated as council. So what I've shown you here is 2 housing specialists and a maintenance person. The hat up there is just an illustration that the city council members, as those 7, you're wearing your Crookston Housing hat. In similar fashion, when you are seated as the Ways and Means Committee, you can't make decisions as the city council. You would be vetting out recommendations, and under this proposal, prior authority from the city council as you are seated as that governing body would be required to exercise powers. Chad, I'm ready to, yeah. Next page is an organizational chart of the city. The new items are shown with a star. So the new item in the bigger box there is showing our boards, commissions, committees. We've discussed it a little bit in the past, but ideally, with a new community development department and a community development director, I would like to discuss, should this proposal move forward, hearing from you on what you would like to see on a community development advisory committee. People from the community, that makeup of that, I would like to hear your feedback on what that should look like, what would be most helpful to you in vetting out certain projects or proposals before that comes to you. And I do want to address, there's been a concern in the community that we would require a developer with an idea or a project to come here before the council and all of our community, and that is in fact not true. We have our city building, we have access to the Valley Tech Park building, which has technology and a meeting room. Our community development director, should that proposal move forward, would be able to do the same things we're doing today and meet with developers privately. There are discussions that need to be had before it's going to come into a public discussion, and staff handles it at that point. We can also go to a developer or to someone making that proposal, and we do that often. And sometimes that's important anyway, right, to go view a site or take a look. So that is, I wanted to make sure that's clear, that we don't plan to eliminate the possibility for a developer or someone making a proposal to be able to inquire in private before that is ready to be made public. And oftentimes, other boards may have to authorize their staff when it's ready to go public, and we will continue to respect that in the same way that we do today. Are there any questions about what I showed that I could help clarify for members of the council or the mayor? Mr. Mayor, I think that's all I have.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, does anyone wish to address the council? Please come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please.
Veronica.
Hi, I'm Preston Hoyseth, 1211 Walsh Street. I am the pastor of Bible Baptist Church, and I wanted to come before you tonight to let you know that our church has been praying for you for this decision and for just in general. We have a time during our services where we pray for you by name. We lift you up before the Lord, because the Bible teaches that we are to pray for those who are in authority, that we may lead a quiet and peaceable life in all godliness and honesty. And that's what we want, to live a quiet and peaceable life. And so I believe in the power of prayer as a pastor. I wish that the council would open in prayer. I know many city councils across the country that do so, and I would urge you to consider inviting faith leaders from our community to open these meetings in prayer. With that not being the case, I wanted to take just my own time here before you to offer a prayer on your behalf. Dear God, our great judge and heavenly Father, we pray for these men and women on our city council. Lord, we pray that you would be with Mayor Stainbrook, and we pray for City Administrator Finch and all of the city staff. Lord, we pray for our wonderful law enforcement and our first responders. And Lord, we pray for all the fine folks at Cheetah and the things that they have been through over these past months. Lord, would you offer all of these protection and health? Would you bless their families? Lord, would you guide them as they lead our community? Help them to lead with wisdom and integrity and with courage, knowing that they must one day stand before God and give an account for their decisions and their actions. Father, we pray for our nation tonight. There's so much anger and so much division. We pray for healing and for unity. And God, would you start that process of healing here in Crookston, because there's a lot of division and brokenness here as well. Lord, help us to see one another as the neighbors that we are and not as enemies. Help us to follow the teachings of Christ, to love our neighbor as ourselves. And Lord, that we would do unto one another only as we would want others to do to us. Lord, would you bless this city with peace? Would you bring peace among our leadership and put upon them, press upon them, the importance and the gravity of the decisions before them, even this very evening, the lives that are affected now, and the impact this will have on our community for years and years to come. And it's in the name of our powerful and precious Lord Jesus that we ask this. Amen.
Philip Barton, 135 Washington Avenue. I had resolved to not speak tonight, but I believe that deserves a reply. I am an atheist, and the invocation of a God in this room has no place, although I respect Mr. Hoyt's right to do that. But I would like to affirm to all of you that you all have a conscience, and you all will stand accountable not to God, but to the citizens of Crookston at the ballot box. Thank you.
Your Honor, we do have some citizens that have submitted, so do you mind if I read them at this time?
Yes, go for it.
Dear City Council, this is a letter submitted to communicate the result of the special Cheetah Board meeting held on July 6, 2021, and the response to the options discussed in the Special Ways meeting committee meeting on June 21st, 2021. As a general note, during these past several weeks of meetings and discussions between the Cheetah Board, Cheetah staff, and City Council, the members of the community that we have heard clearly the complaints of the City Council and citizens and take them under very serious consideration. As voted upon by the Cheetah Board yesterday, we propose that 2 existing City Council members on the Cheetah Board should be replaced by the mayor and another council member with strong leadership and communication skills, who would be willing to assume more direct oversight of Cheetah, specifically communication skills, willingness to serve with the willing to serve on an committee that included the office of president is desirable. While the council members Erickson and Bebron have served Cheetah well, always including the mayor and also rotating council members into Cheetah's leadership will aid throughout understanding and various workings of the organization. Cheetah recalled when this format of the city council leadership on the board was implemented, communication was much improved and there was very little concern about enough organizational oversight. When Mayor Generix and Councilmember Mickleseth provided leadership to the Cheetah Board, this issue presented today were non-existent, and this would be crucial to reconnecting Cheetah and the City Council and ensuring the priorities and philosophies that are properly aligned. We would like to continue to provide the Cheetah Management Report to members and the City Council and administration in the exact form it is presented to the Cheetah Board, which creates the very important transparency and participation of the City Council and staff. This solution clearly evidenced that Cheetah has heard the discussion and dialogue from the council and the community. This solution could be implemented immediately by appointment and approval at council and would not require changes to the enabling documents. Cheetah is committed to efficient, real, and positive change. Thank you, and we look forward to working for and on behalf of the City of Crookston. Sincerely, your Cheetah Board of Commissioners. Greeting Crookston City Council members. Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you prior to your important vote on Monday, July 12th, 2021. Much has been made of a personal conflict that exists between City Hall and Cheetah officials. This statement has nothing to do with any of those conflicts, past, present, real, or created by the media. What I do intend to address is effectiveness in the community and economic development, the only way forward that will provide effective supporting businesses, families, farmers, nonprofit organizations, school districts, University of Minnesota, and the entire greater Crookston community is a system and structure that brings community and economic Crookston community, and a system and structure that brings community and economic development and the Housing Authority under the direct of City Council and administration. It is undeniable fact that miscommunication, poor customer service, and flat-out missed opportunities have been to all too common over the past decade. The examples are too numerous to mention, but every one of us remembers them. This is not about finger pointing whatsoever. The reason and people are involved, it must end, and you have the opportunity to begin the process of healing now. The community as a whole has always assumed the city and Cheetah were one and the same, and the majority of the ill will over 6 years and complaints received about the city doing the harm were actually references to Cheetah. People simply do not differentiate between the two entities. So when you see poor score for the city or city council, you can be assured that a healthy percentage of the negative or related to Cheetah or lack of action from city council or administration to hold Cheetah accountable. The numbers do not lie from the community survey. A response of 717 people of city of 8,000 is a very strong sample size. Consider this. 54 out of 717 people indicated that Cheetah should remain as its current structure. Just over 7% recommended keeping things the same, which isn't failing. It is abysmal. You as the city council have mandated from the people to take action. It is safe to say that Cheetah board, staff, and immediate family members could make up the majority of the 54 people. So support other than that specific group is almost non-existent. City council members, the community has given you the information you need to make this decision. In any development project, it takes a team to bring the success. Communication with the developer, business owners, and investors must be accurate and clear. Messaging to the boards and commissioners must be detailed and clear. A productive team that includes the city administrator, developer, community development director, finance director, public works, building official, park and recs, water superintendent, and eventually all appropriate boards and commissions will give the projects the best chance to succeed. Even so, some will not work for a variety of reasons, but the reason should not be because of lack of team effort and mindset. The existing grant programs for housing rehab and small businesses are very easily administered by the City Finance Department and the Development and Policy Review Board, or other appointed groups or qualified individuals. The Housing and Redevelopment Authority has a strong history of functioning under the City Hall and will do so again. All these benefits, along with sizable cost savings annually that can be used to keep the levy lower and reinvest in the specific projects that advance the community. Finally, there is a good reason that no other comparable cities in Minnesota operate with this sort of economic development structure. A separate, nearly autonomous EDA does not exist for this size of city. What we have witnessed is an irreversible failing of such system with great authority and autonomy, but nearly no accountability directed back to the elected officials and public, which provides funding to the organization. Each of you serve on the city council because you care about the future success of Crookston. In that, I have no doubt the people of Crookston have spoken, and you as elected officials are obligated to listen to their voice. Repeating the same actions will net in the same result. Do not let this happen. Respectfully and sincerely, Shannon Stassen, 534 Riverside Avenue, Crookston, Minnesota.
That it?
That is it, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Still open?
Yep.
Yeah, Paul Eichhoff, 1200 Bruce Street, Crookston. I mean, does anyone really believe that letter that you just wrote? Yes. And tell me why. What opportunity has been missed with regard to bringing business into Crookston in the last 6 years? One. Tell me one.
The apartment complex that wanted to build south of Casey's is one that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay, and what was the problem there?
No, I'm not sure.
Can anyone say a second one?
Epitome Energy is never coming here. There is no soybean blend facility ever. Not in Crookston, not in any community across this nation.
So they have an office here for nothing.
Exactly, and they have $250,000 of the city's money for nothing.
And how do you know that?
Extensive research on the subject for the benefit of the city.
Pardon?
Extensive research on the
So the governor was here for nothing? No, wasn't the governor here with the groundbreaking a few months ago?
That was a soybean innovation campus. That wasn't Epitome.
They're separate.
They're separate.
Okay, that's fine. But there is a soybean entity coming to Crookston.
Right, and there's nothing
hope so.
saying that the other one isn't coming here either. I don't know where you get your
It's
idea.
never happened, Tom.
Don't ever say never.
Let's keep it to,
I mean, I'm a little surprised that the community, I mean, I'm looking for reasons why someone would believe a letter like you just saw there.
But it's just not the letter that was presented tonight. It's from the city survey. And
The city survey.
And then.
Come on.
A ton of people that have contacted me since I've taken
Yeah,
office.
so
before.
what kind of savings are you gonna have by having it come through the city?
I don't know if this is all about savings or not. I think this is about a change of leadership within Cheetah.
Well, that's
So
easy
which-
enough to do.
Which we have been looking for Cheetah to do since we started this process. You had 2 special meetings in which you could have made some changes that maybe you could have come to the table and bargained with us, but you failed to do that. So this is where we're at today. You
Isn't
know
that
as
letter,
well as- you know as well as I
when
do.
was this whole process initiated?
Well, I think it was initiated, it's been in the process for a long time.
Yeah, but
It's just-
formally,
it's
when
just
was
had-
it,
it's just
formally,
had to
when
have
was it
votes on the
initiated?
Council to get it done.
Excuse me. Formally, when was it initiated?
Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I believe it was the May 24th, 2021 City
Yeah.
Council meeting.
So, I mean, that's the first time that I've really heard that there's some big problem with Cheetah. And of course, we've had council members that attend most meetings. No one's ever told me that, Don, have you ever said anything to me about problems at Cheetah?
No, because you never said anything to me about the problems with Cheetah.
Well, I never recognized any problems.
I
So
mean-
again, I'm telling you, you better have some good people on board if you want to bring some businesses into Crookston. I'm in business and it's not easy. When was the last significant business brought into town?
The bus garage was the last one.
Was that a business?
Well, I guess it's a manufacturing business.
Yeah.
And how many years, that's 20-some years ago, I mean.
Oh, that one. Yeah, no, I'm getting confused, excuse me. Yeah. Well, I just know that you gotta have someone out there, not waiting for them to come here. You gotta have someone that's going out and knocking on doors and I've always thought Craig was doing a good job of reaching out and negotiating with all these individual people. And I don't know who you're gonna get and what kind of a board you're gonna have that's gonna do better than what we've done out there. So,
I mean, I think there's many people on the board that I would love to still stay. I just wanted the board to recognize from this community that leadership of the Cheetah needs to be changed.
yeah, I've heard that, but I haven't heard any real specific reasons.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. If Cheetah was up on the ballot in November to exist or not exist, do you think it would exist after the election or not? In Crookston,
This November,
yes.
I think there'd be a lot better opportunity to get a good consensus from an election than I would from what I just saw in that letter. 55 people were for it, and
Well, that's just a sample size, but in the survey that we've taken, it was 712 people, and a huge majority of those people thought some changes.
yeah,
needed
but
to happen.
I think most people
Paul,
don't know what's going on.
Paul, your time is up, thank you.
Okay, truly, I don't think the citizens really know what's going on.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Larry Brecken, 1603 Cedar Court. I'm wondering, in this past week, was there any meeting between a group of Cheetah people and a group of city council people?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
May I? Mr. Brecken, there was not that I was involved in, other than meeting with the president to deliver the letter.
So there was never any meeting to get together with 3 or 4 here and 3 or 4 for Cheetah, try and work things out?
To my knowledge, that didn't happen. However, both boards need to be cognizant of quorums, and in my personal opinion, those meetings would be better held in the public setting.
I disagree. There's no reason why there could have been 3 or 4 from each group and sit down and work this thing out. Or was it a one-sided deal, which it looks like to me?
My name's Guy Martin, 414 Sheridan Street in Crookston. I want to start by highlighting a few points that I made in my resignation letter as the mayor of Crookston that I feel still stand today. My vision for the Crookston's future cannot be reconciled with that of some of the city council, the Cheetah director, and the Cheetah board members currently seated. Throughout my time as mayor, I witnessed firsthand Cheetah director and its board members and certain members of the city council act unethically and completely contrary to the Crookston community members. I feel the forgivable loan granted to Epitome Energy after complete lack of appraisal is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this unethical conduct. Now, in less than 2 years, our city is on its second mayor, second administrator, and second chamber director. And I don't know if you're still currently looking for a city clerk, but that position became vacant. I don't feel any of these are coincidental. The list goes on with people that have been adversely affected by Cheetah. They've been mentioned, some of them by other people. Elliot Steinbrink, Dr. Craig Theed, the late Dr. Craig Theed, Brian LaPlante. And there's 2 that really stick out in my mind the parents of the children that are desperately seeking daycare. What are we doing there? Nothing. And most of all, the concerned citizen taxpayer of Crookston. I thought I heard in that presentation, it was in the auditorium, so I was in the back, but $2.6 million to Cheetah over the last few years, is that correct?
I don't have that in front of me, but it was over 2 million.
But it wasn't over 2 years.
No, I said
No.
over the last years.
I think I showed 5 years, I believe, is what I pulled.
5 years.
I think now is the time to get unity back in our city. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address council?
Bob Herkenoff. I am a developer. I have been developing. And all I hear is it's broke. I don't get that. Like Paul Eichhoff said, where was this problem? Council here, all you guys, how many items have I brought in front of you? Plenty. I met with Craig, we hashed it out. I went through 4 city administrators in 7 years, no continuity. It's hard. One thing I had going was Craig. I could go to Craig, we'd work something out. I'd come to the council were great. Crookston housing, that's the first thing on this Cheetah that comes up. What'd we do? We used to have a problem. There wasn't a decent lot for sale in this town. Nothing. All I heard was complaints. I went into the development business. I was a contractor. And how you get things done, we figured it out. But I tell you what, Cheetah went to bat for me, or nothing would have been done on there. And I don't get it, what you guys are doing. We're going through mayors, we're going through councils. The councilmen, we're pretty steady there. We got a few new ones, but this isn't that complicated. But you're making it complicated by all this turnover. Well, let's get rid of them all. I understand you're not happy with Cheetah. Well, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Work on it. Maybe pull some council members in, work it out. My God, they have a good staff. All these people are wondering if they have a job. How would you like it at your job if suddenly it wasn't out of your control? Suddenly they said, we're getting rid of all of you. Getting rid of this board they have is an awesome board. It's a lot of good community leaders. You're saying, we don't need your opinion. Who cares? I can't believe it. Think about it before you do this. What do we got to decide suddenly now? If it started May 24th, we're only a month or two out. Why don't we have a little more planning on it and get Craig involved more? Craig's good to work with, And what you're doing is just, I think, a slap in the face of all these other business people that were on the board. That's what I have to say.
Is there anyone else?
Jeff Fagerstrom with actually 416 Neal Avenue South. That is in Thief River Falls, Minnesota. So today I come to you with a little different perspective. I'm not a citizen of Crookston, but I've partnered with you for 23 years. I've been through many Cheetah directors from Carrie Thompson, all the way to the current Craig Hoyseth. In 23 years, I've seen Cheetah have some really great successes, but I've also seen some really epic failures. And I think that's a part of business. There are failures and there are successes. You are correct, or one of the letters indicated that Crookston is unique in having a separate entity of a Cheetah versus a city employee, Crookston Housing Development Director. That is unique, but I would say from an outside perspective, that is an advantage. I've seen Cheetah over the years work honorably and aggressively and swiftly to establish housing in your community like I've not seen other communities do. I'll give you just a couple examples. Partnership with the Crookston High School. The Crookston High School was in a situation where they built a house in their parking lot, and every summer they tried to sell it, and sometimes that worked well and sometimes it didn't. The high school was ready to be done with the program. Cheetah stepped in and said, we will be the fiscal intermediary for you. We will buy that house from you. We will help educate the next generation of construction workers. What other community does that? No other community. Crookston does that. And you look at all the other communities in northwestern Minnesota that participate with the high schools, it is a separate financial entity. It is not city council. It is not city hall. It is not a city employee that directs that. No other community does that. You are unique. That is a good thing. Over the years, we've seen Cheetah build speculation houses in Crookston. You mentioned $2 million over the last 5-6 years. They've easily spent $1 million of that just on speculation houses for people to be able to, as they want to come in and live in your community, to have a house that's already built, ready to go, ready to move in. Building is not cheap. Like I said, and I guarantee you, just standing here, that they've spent $1 million just on speculation houses. What other community does that in northwest Minnesota? None. Crookston does that. That's an awesome thing. Every other community has, it's private developers that have to come in and speculate. Cheetah's done that. That's a good thing. I will admit, Crookston you are in a difficult position regarding geographic location. You're too close to Grand Forks to have major businesses, but you're too close and you're too far away. It makes it a really difficult job for an economic development director. So whether they're hired by the city or whether they're hired by Cheetah, it's a difficult position for Crookston. Not only just in residential that I'm talking about, and that's my go-to, but I watch your commercial in town here too. It's a tough animal to retain businesses, to grow businesses, to draw businesses in. So I just wanted to give you some positives. Over the last 23 years of partnering with you, we've established hopefully a great rapport with not only Cheetah, but the city of Crookston. And I just don't want you to forget the good things that have happened over the last 23 years. And as Delane mentioned, yeah, personalities do collide at times and changes do need to happen. But if this conversation really is about replacing someone at the top of Cheetah, then Bob, you kind of stole my line. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Cheetah's a good thing. It's been a good thing.
Anyone else would like to address council?
I would like to just say a few words because we just finished up a study with 11 cities in our region. And I just want to give you the information because it was on the internet and on our council website. I talked with 11 administrators throughout this region. And here's some of the questions that they asked me as I was visiting with them about their organizational structure in their city. Why do we have a board like this? Sounds more problematic than it's worth. Number two, it must cost a lot of money to fund a board like this, $1 million over 2 or 3 years. Why have a third party making city and council decisions? We have heard that there are a lot of problems with the city of Crookston having a board like Cheetah. Why did you have a mayor resign and a city administrator resign? Sounds like your city would be further ahead without a Cheetah board. Our city would never give a board more power than the city council, because the city council has the power of the city, not a Cheetah board. The cities, I just want to let you know who they are. Monoman, Boston, Ada, Roseau, Park Rapids, East Grand Forks, Thief River Falls, Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, Bemidji, and Moorhead. Those are their comments about having a cheetah board in their city, and they said they would never do that. They said if you would move ahead, you'd notice in about a year and a half that Crookston would be further ahead. That's what they had to say. And I thought I'd better share that with you all, because we have to make a big decision here. And I don't have anything personally against Cheetah. I think they have a great board, but I think the city spoke. We had over 700 people making those comments. We better listen to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Anyone else would like to address the council?
Your Honor, I'd like to say something. I seen that letter that Paul was talking about, but I also looked at the paper on June 9th that the Times wrote, and there was a list of those that were in support of Cheetah, and there was 47 businesses and individuals together in that. And those got to be listened to too. And the calls that I've gotten from people and the people that I've talked to, they're all telling me maybe leadership for the Cheetah executive director should maybe be looked at, but not to get rid of the Cheetah board and not to get rid of Cheetah. They feel the city needs that. So I guess that's my 2 cents. I look at the business places that have dealt with Cheetah. I look at those that I know are, say, putting Cheetah down, and it's because they didn't get what they wanted when they came out there. So they're not happy with it. They didn't get what they wanted. The other ones, you know, if they got their business to go, if their business didn't go, at least Cheetah tried. So I guess that's, the people that I talk to, that's what they're telling me. Keep Cheetah, but look at the executive director. And I also look at that. I look at I've soon been on this council for 2 decades, and if I would have fired the people that I've been told to fire throughout the years, we wouldn't have much staff and people left. So, I mean, somebody don't like them, first thing they say, get rid of them, fire them. You can't do that. You should, it's like Paul was asking, what's the reason? You know, if you didn't get what you want, so you don't like them, get rid of them. No, they also did good things too.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah, and we're not saying that they haven't done good things, Tom, and we're just saying, okay, there is a problem, there's a disconnect. When you got 7 people on a board, and there's this much disarray, and you got 5 of them that say they've never heard anything about this, what kind of communication is your leadership doing? That, to me, is number 1. Number 2, yeah, we've done a lot of great projects with the Northwest Housing. For the first, I don't know how many years, I thought they were nonprofit because they did everyone. They were listed as the only one until I think it was Northern Lumber. Tim, why don't we get a shot at this? Did anybody know that? And and you say you're from Thief River. I mean, that's fine, but I'm just saying we looked at in town. The Cheetah board, did they know that? I don't know. There's a lot of that stuff. Kurt talked about that the other day, that you don't bring up the failures. If somebody comes and they don't think that idea is going to fly, him and Craig X'd it. It never got onto an agenda. So, I mean, that's the type of thing that's going on. People see it as picking and choosing. If you're related, if you have this connection or whatever, you know. Yeah, he's done a lot of great stuff with you, Mick. And I sat in there and I know, and I appreciate the things that you're doing. I really did. That whole northeast corner wouldn't have been there without your help. But you know, there's just some other things that are going on that really aren't above board. I don't think, and that's what's being addressed, and that's what we're telling you. So don't, Paul, you guys have done great with what you've been given. We're just saying we don't think that you're being given the whole deal.
I'm Andy Hall, owner of Sweet Light Gallery, 119 North Main, downtown. This is extremely hard for me to talk as a business owner because it's taking a risk. Saying things about this topic, I'm going to alienate as many potential customers by speaking tonight as I'm going to gain. But I have to speak based on what Tom brought up. Tom, you said that 47 people were listed in the paper as being supportive. What a bunch of journalistic garbage that was. That was regurgitating a PR statement put out by Cheetah. They went around and asked for people to sign a piece of paper if you got money from Cheetah. And the piece of paper said basically, Cheetah has been good to work with, they gave you money, sign your name. I was approached with that piece of paper 2 days after a purchase was made from me by Cheetah. Now, what do you think I'm going to say in that situation? Do you think I'm going to say, forget it, I'm not signing this crap? Of course. I didn't want it, I didn't like it, but I signed it. Journalistic integrity would have meant, and just for your own curiosity, if you want to know who truly supports out of those 47, go back and interview those same people that got money. Ask them if they like the way it went down, okay? I know of 3 people, 2 of them specifically, and I can't say a name, you know I can't, and so I have to use the word hearsay. I know 2 women that specifically are business owners in this community who will never approach Cheetah for another penny with the leadership that's in there right now because they feel uncomfortable by it. A change needs to happen at the leadership level. I don't know enough about Cheetah in general to know if the whole program needs to go away. Clearly, a change needs to happen. If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it sounds like a duck, it's probably a duck, people. And I'm sorry that the Cheetah board hasn't been able to see the problems because it's been talked about since I moved to town 6 years ago. That's all I've heard about is the problem at the top. So if the Cheetah board doesn't know that, that's on them. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address council?
I guess I'd just like to say what Andy was saying, bring some new light to some stuff. But like I say, there's always 2 sides to every story, and you maybe sometimes only hear the one side, so it's nice to hear both sides.
Hearing none, I'll close this public hearing. Okay, moving on, this brings us to the regular agenda. Ashley.
Your Honor, item 8.01 is a resolution to approve modifying, reinstating Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority enabling resolution.
Okay, before I ask for a motion, could I get our city attorney to, there's an amendment on number 7 of the limitation, I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, you are correct. Just briefly, the modifying restated resolution has engendered some comment from Cheetah and other individuals. We believe the resolution on its face stands and would be effective. What we are saying is that in number 7, the correction or addition would address that there is inconsistency in the resolution. And what we are saying is that number 7 would read in the last sentence, which are inconsistent with this modifying restated Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority enabling resolution are rescinded. There was some concern expressed that all of the prior enabling resolutions would be rescinded by this resolution, and therefore Cheetah as it exists now would cease to exist. One, I believe that would be incorrect. That can only be accomplished by a dissolution of the Economic Development Authority and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Never the intent with this resolution. There have been concerns raised. What does this really mean? What it means is that the presently existing structure, the EDA and the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, continue to exist as they are. The HRA is not dissolved. The EDA is not dissolved. They continue to exist as they have always existed, with the same powers and ability. So to clarify, anything which is inconsistent with this resolution would be rescinded. What is inconsistent with this resolution is, one, the Housing and Economic Development Authority, the EDA, now has the ability to exercise any powers it has at its discretion, only governed by the board to which the executive director and staff answer. This restated, modifying resolution says that's not going to happen anymore. What's going to happen is, before any of those powers can be exercised, there has to be prior approval by this city council. The powers still exist. The housing authority still exists. Just has to have prior consent of this body. Second, the oversight board, the 7 members will be city council members. Those are the only changes. The only changes. The powers exist for economic development. The powers exist to continue all of the housing that HRA presently does. The Section 8, the low income, Oak Court. Make no mistake about it. The only way those stop is if the organizations were dissolved. That is not this. The city council heard the difficulties and problems with a potential dissolution. Well expressed, well thought out. That's why this is a modification and restated. You've heard the city administrator state it's the hope to have a citizen board back in place. But for right now, this city council needs to grapple with the issues that are presently existing. They perceive some issues that haven't been addressed by the presently existing board. Whether they're enough to pass this resolution is up to them. But this does not eliminate the EDA. It preserves those powers for exercise by this council. The elected body, not a selected body, an elected body. Secondly, at such time as this council decides that the public body to oversee Cheetah has the format in place to exist and do that, it can appoint other individuals. Make no mistake about it. This resolution only rescinds those items, those powers, those entities which are inconsistent. 2 inconsistencies. Who exercises the power and when, And who makes up the board governing Cheetah? Any questions?
The existing board that's there, then what happens to them?
They're gone.
Okay.
If this is passed.
But down the road, once the community board can be reestablished, if it's up to us to do so, they could be asked to be back on or no?
100% this resolution can, as the others have been, be modified and restated. That says it must have two. Must have two city council members with a 7-person board. But it can be restated. We're now returning to a citizen board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Say, yeah, but, so they can hear you.
Kurt Hellstab's asking a question,
But
chairman of
he-
the Cheetah Board.
It needs to come to the mic so they can,
Kurt Elstep, 536 First Avenue Northeast. At least at 7 o'clock, I was president of Cheetah. Okay, so that's how I'm trying to frame this. I believe you answered my question. If the resolution passes, is there an effective date when this would no longer have my 7 p.m. before the meeting Cheetah board in place? If you pass a resolution today, we're done?
The effective date is July 13th, tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Okay, and then in the conversations I've been hearing, I've got an executive director, and I've got 3 staff members. Yeah. They're basically, the 3 staff members are more in housing. Will they still be able to go to work tomorrow? If this resolution passes? Is that a question to answer, Amy? Yeah.
Yes, I can address that. So the only way that those 3 employees would be impacted in their ability to work is if the Cheetah board, whether that be as it sits right this minute, or if this resolution passes and it is made up of 7 members of the council, it would be up to those individuals, that board, to make a change to that.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If the resolution passes, bam,
Right.
myself and my group that were there at 7 will be gone, effective tomorrow. No,
Yeah, tomorrow.
tomorrow's 13th, yeah, okay. But my executive director and the 3 staff still remain?
Without official action, that is true, yes. Part of my proposal, and I did not address it this evening, I have in the past, is I recommend, because the city's budget cannot currently support a Cheetah executive director being funded by the city, as well as a community development department director under the city, in order to create a community development department and a director, it is my recommendation that that funding stops for the EDA portion going forward, to fund and create the community development department budget. And I would recommend setting aside any excess in a project line for upcoming projects, but that would be up to council for input on that budget matter.
I'm hearing that correctly. The little comment you made, is that another resolution? Or is that included in the resolution that, the way I'm reading it, the 3 staff personnel can continue to work tomorrow, on the 13th, but executive director is in limbo? I got to make some notes so I can even.
It would be my professional recommendation that the board, as they're seated, would make some sort of official action if it was impacting an employee.
Okay. So the 13th, the 4 people I'm talking about still working. There'd be a Cheetah board, a new Cheetah board, and then they could make further decisions regarding those 4 employees.
That's correct. And while I am not an employee of that board, I would not be an employee of that board, it is not my recommendation to eliminate your housing staff. They are used to the program administering those things, it's not my recommendation to not have those people in place to continue serving our housing customers. Now, again, I'm not an employee of that board. However, that's just my recommendation, that you would want to keep some continuity with the housing staff.
Is this something that requires a separate meeting, or can there be something that happens tonight after the resolution should or should not pass?
Should the resolution pass, or should it not pass, either way, the Cheetah Board is required to give the same sort of public notice that the city council is as a public body. So there would have to be a calling of a meeting. We do need to do 3 days' notice, so the timing of that would have to be discussed, as well as availability of board members.
So if it does pass tonight, is it, then we are the Cheetah Board. Could we call a special meeting so the folks that work there would know sooner than later?
Absolutely, yes. And I think that would be a good idea anyway, if there's a change made, to sit as a body and discuss how to move forward, yes.
Okay, simplified, resolution passes, Cheetah Board gone. That is, as of 7 o'clock was my Cheetah Board. And then, but the 4 other employees are still going to be working. Until then, you as a council have a new Cheetah Board and have a meeting, and whenever that happens, then we'll know more. Am I hearing that right?
I believe so, yes. I think any actions that pertain to employees or anything under the authority of the Cheetah Board should be handled by the Cheetah Board and in an open meeting, unless it's a matter that would be handled in closed session. Yeah.
In the City Council Cheetah Board?
In the
Yeah, I know, it's
Cheetah
just-
Board, made up of 7 members of the City Council, yes.
I was just getting clarification for employees. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you need a motion. Would they
Okay.
not? Yes.
I get you to read that resolution one more time, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 8.01 is a resolution to approve the amended, modifying, reinstated Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority enabling resolution, Your Honor.
Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
Your Honor, I make that motion.
Second,
Delane and
Your Honor.
Don, thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Platt,
Aye.
Ed Broughton,
Nay.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy. Aye. Erickson,
Nay.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Nay.
Your Honor, that is a 5-3 vote. It passes.
Motion carries. Moving on.
Item 8.02 is a resolution to appoint the Crookston Housing and Economic Development Authority board members, Your Honor.
We have a motion to approve this
I'll
resolution.
make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Discussion.
It's a problem, I voted the way I did in the first one. I just look at the people that were on that board, I really think we need to look at this as a 50-50 blend of council versus citizens. We talk about transparency day after day after day, but yet we just threw pillars of the community out the door. And my thought on this is, why not start out with a 50-50 mix with a new board, a new whatever. You got great people with great business sense. I've said this a million times, I'm probably the most undereducated person in that room at any given day. You have professionals in our community that volunteered their time for zero income, zero payment, and we just threw them out the door. And I think when this starts out, we need to include these people. We need transparency. We need the people that elected us to serve on these boards. Every other board we have today has community members on it. This should be no different. I don't care if we change it down the road, but I think why not start out with that? And that's the reason I voted the way I did on this, because I think we need that to be good at what we do as a community, to have everybody's input. And I think that we really gotta look at this as a transparency thing, and keeping the community involved in the stuff we do is having 3 or 4 citizens and 3 or 4 council members on this. That's my opinion on that.
Can I just confirm with the city administrator, because just looking at our organizational chart, is really, the city is only sitting, or the council members are sitting on Cheetah primarily as the housing authority to assist with that piece of it. And really, the only time we would utilize the EDA powers is really when there's a need for EDA powers, and it's not something that can happen under that Director of Community Development and their citizen board. Is that correct?
That does align with my recommendation, yes.
Okay.
That the powers would remain under the Cheetah Board to be exercised when needed if it were a particular matter that the city did not have the power to exercise. Yes.
I guess my question is to the board is that I was all in favor of keeping the Cheetah Board intact. I guess, you know, I want to know what, you know, I guess it was a closed session, but what happened at your Tuesday Cheetah meeting? I mean, we were together and there was discussion and it didn't go the direction that I thought it was gonna go. There seems to be the common denominator in this whole thing, and if that would've happened, the Cheetah Board was gonna stay in place. But it didn't happen that way. Nothing was brought back to Amy or myself from, the chair of their board. So, I respect the Cheetah Board. I think there's a lot of knowledge there, but there was no options really brought back that would work for the council.
So why can't we do it now that thing has gone through, it's a done deal now? Why can't we look at this and say, you know, I don't know if anyone would want to serve on it or not, but at the end of the day, why don't we start out with that?
Councilmember Erickson, the resolution that was just adopted does call for specifically 7 members of the city council.
That's why I vote against it. That's what I'm saying. We need to, you know, we need the public involved in this. And I just think, you know, these people are business people. We're not all business people on this thing. I mean, I strive, you know, somebody had talked about running a business at Crookston. I'll tell you right, because I've been doing it for 10 years, it's a battle every single day. And they're not just gonna come flying to us to open our doors and open business in Crookston. It's not that simple. We need people that have started business, that are in business. We need their insight to be good at what we do as a city. Without them, we are not that smart to make those decisions. I think all of us together, we need everybody involved in this, and I think that's, you know, the whole part of that resolution was having the 7 city council members. There's no transparency there. We're making the decision, the general public's throwing out the door, because it's all on us. And that's why Cheetah and other boards that we've had, I look at the park board, and everybody we have citizens, their advisory committees or whatever. The department heads take that into consideration. They give recommendations. It's no different with this organization. We need these people to give us recommendations. What would this business do? How do we get this business into Crookston? Well, they probably know a lot more than we do about it, how to get them here, and that's my concern with this. I mean, the resolution that you had to 8.01, I understand that. But at the end of the day, we need to look at this as a whole. We don't have a game plan solid going forward, and that concerns me too. Am I against what we're doing here? Absolutely not. But at the end of the day, we have got to get citizens on board with this thing, and I think we need to start out with that, in that direction. And that's why I voted the way I did.
Steve, I agree with you almost everything that you're saying. But I do wish that would have been an option coming from Cheetah to us, so we could have, we had no choice. We had to move forward, and this is the best way we thought we could move forward. I wish that would have happened from Cheetah. Say, listen, let's talk about this. We get that it's going this direction. Let's sit down and see if we can do Four current members of Cheetah and 3 of the city, or 4 of the city, 3 of Cheetah, I would have been in favor of that.
Councilmember Clot, I do want to, I wasn't planning on sharing this tonight, but I did offer a proposal to the Cheetah Board Chair, and I copied the mayor. I realized it was probably a little bit harder than where they would have landed, but expected to hear something back. I'm not sure if the other Cheetah Board members are aware of it. I sent it in an email. It was with that, to have a mix of whatever number could have been determined through conversation and discussion of existing Cheetah Board members and a mix of council, and there was no response given to that. The best that I can do for this council that oversees my work is bring to you options. I do not have the authority to enter into an agreement on Cheetah's side. We needed board member participation on that, and that didn't come back. I felt that could have been a viable solution or alternate path we could have brought forward and discussed, but that can't come from me. I don't have the authority to enter into that agreement, nor do any of you seated as the council on behalf of Cheetah. So I understand probably the public perception, and maybe from some of you also, is that I was real hard line on this. The problem is I can only advise you as a council, and I can only ask you to consider recommendations that you have the authority to make. So this council does not have the authority to terminate a director or...
So do you mind me asking who you sent that email to?
I sent it to Mr. Hellstab, and I copied our mayor on that.
So Steve and Tom, did you see that, being a board member?
It was on June 28th that I sent
did
that.
not.
I didn't either.
So, I mean, I hate to keep digging into weeds, but therein lies the problem, I think. It's a situation that you as board members probably would have found a viable option to this, and you were kept in the dark about it. So, I mean, that's,
Your Honor?
unfortunately, that's where we're at.
Yes, Wayne.
I agree with Lane. The thing is, you know, a lot of this stuff, the Cheetah Board have sent, you know, just like they've never heard of this before. Stuff that's been sent to Craig, if it's not to his liking, maybe you're not getting it. I don't know. But I think right now that there's a lot of hard decisions that gotta be made going forward. And I think, Steve, with all due respect, I think it's this council committee that should be making those.
Yeah.
And with the intention of going forward later on and having the transparency, as you say, having the leadership and having a better reporting source and a little more communications, or a lot more communications going forward with what's going on, so that not one person or 2 person are making the, you know, the decisions of what you get to see or you don't get to see. So I think that that's what we should be at now is let's take it over as a council. Let's sit down. There's things that were working, things that weren't, and let's go from there and make it better. We all want the same resolution. We all want what's good for Crookston. Whether it's new housing or if it's new manufacturing, if it's daycare. We have said that's what we want to do, so let's show it and let's take the bull by the horns, do our thing, and then move on from there.
I think that's why we need to go back to Ways and Means, because I mean, some of this stuff could have been discussed there, you know, but we said, oh, we're gonna have everything at the council meeting. Well, now we have it at the council meeting, but no, we can't make any motions on it, we can't do any of this stuff. This could have all been discussed at a Ways and Means, and then we could have had it figured out on how we really want to move forward with it. I mean, like Steve said, we're gonna get rid of the Cheetah Board that's there. If you come back in a couple weeks and say, would you guys like to be on this board? If I was them, no thanks.
Tom, we've had this conversation with part of the Cheetah leadership back when I was mayor, back when what he was saying is that, you know, when we had other mayors here, we've had other administrators, and it went nowhere. And it took this shock and awe type of a situation here in order to get the folks down here to get the board, to give them some realization what's going on, and it's time to move. I mean, we've aired it out long enough, we've seen it, we've heard it. It's just, I believe that's enough. It's time to move on.
Your Honor, I want to limit the debate, and I want to call the question.
Your Honor, we have a first and a second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Klatt,
Aye.
Bedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Item 8.03 is the second and final reading of the ordinance authorizing and creating a community development department, Your Honor.
Okay, Ashley, would you please read the second and final reading on that?
An ordinance of the City of Crookston, Minnesota, authorizing and creating a community development department. The City of Crookston ordains as follows. The following describes the intent and purpose of this ordinance. Pursuant to the City of Crookston, Minnesota, Charter Section 5.03, the City Council may establish by ordinance a city department and describes as functions. It is desirable that the City of Crookston have a department with a director to build relationships with individuals and organizations to obtain, retain, and secure businesses, entities within the City of Crookston. The City of Crookston Municipal Code shall be amended as followed, and the City of Crookston ordains. Section 32.162, Establishment. Subsection 32.162A, the Community Development Department is hereby established. The head of the department shall be the Community Development Director. Subsection 32.162B. The head of the Community Development Department shall be responsible to the city administrator and shall make the file reports as may be requested by the city administrator. Subsection 32.162.c. The director of the community development shall make recommendations to the city administrator in conjunction with the programs and policies of the City of Crookston related to the businesses, development, and planning. The director coordinates and implements goals and programs of economic development that promotes the growth and retention of the vital economy within the city. The director develops, maintains, and updates the community development department's long and short-range development goals. The director creates and maintains the inventory of vacancies of commercial and industries, properties within the city, and develops strategies to decrease vacancies within the city. The director develops and coordinates economic developing, marketing strategies, and growth management process. The director works with private businesses and public agencies to enhance the economic viability and viability within the city. And in coordination with the city administrator and other directors, city directors, the community development director evaluates large development projects within the city. The community development director oversees and builds relationships with individuals and organizations as it is to be creative force in obtaining, retaining, and securing businesses, entities, and manufacturers within the city.
Thank you, Ashley. Discussion.
Are we gonna put this out as a job opening, or what are we gonna do?
Councilmember Vedbron, yes, that would be my expectation, but prior to that, and I have not invested a huge amount of time yet because I wanted to make sure this was going to move forward. I do have some samples of job descriptions from the Minnesota area, as well as the current executive director of Cheetah's job description, and I think council input will be really important on what that job description looks like before that job posting would be made public to accept applications.
Any kind of a salary range on it?
Well, I do have some salary ranges that are consistent with our other directors, but I would say that is normally between 70 and 80 is what's consistent and in line with what we're bringing directors in now at. but would need to really sit down and look at that with the development of a budget and bring that to you as a whole proposal.
My only comment was I would like this to be a national search, because I think we need to provide as many people the opportunity that have a wide range of understanding of this type of unique.
And how, will there be a committee of some sort, or how would the person be selected?
Oh, the hiring committee? I would say yes, and that's something we'll need to kind of sort out and work out. Ideally, I think we would want to bring in some other community development or economic development professionals that can sit on that hiring or interview committee with us to review applications and narrow down for interviews of the applicants.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Clat,
Aye.
Bed Bratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Item 8.04 is a resolution accepting donations in the amount of $10,491 for the Park and Recreation Department, Your Honor.
Have a motion to approve this resolution.
I make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom. Discussion? Hearing none, whoops,
Good donation.
yep. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Clat,
Aye.
Bed Bratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Item 8.05 is a resolution approving plans and specifications and calling for bids on the Central Park Campground improvements, Your Honor.
I have a motion to approve this resolution.
So move, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Discussion?
Any price come in on that, or how did that work?
Do you mean for like bids?
Yeah.
We can't go out for bids until we have the specs approved. But it's my understanding, and Rich, you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they'll be bid out as two separate, the bathhouse and the campground. So that will be the next step then, to see what the bids come in, that the council will then approve or award.
Is there anything, Rich, in writing that says we have to start by a certain time as far as?
No, not necessarily starting on, a start date, but I'm sure they'll start late fall, late summer, early fall.
This year.
Yep, this year, they'll carry over to spring.
In looking at the current plan layout, I will say that from personal, my parents live in a camper. They're nomads, if you will. And so they go to a lot of campgrounds in this area. And so with a lot of people who tend to be older, who have larger campers and things of that nature, really the pull-through, they will not go to some campgrounds if they do not have pull-throughs at those campgrounds. And generally, when you have a rig that is big enough for hookups and those types of things, they're going to be looking for those campgrounds that have pull-throughs. And in looking at the specs here, it doesn't look like that's the case. And so I'm just wondering if there's any thought of rearranging that, or if that's something that is pretty simple in doing.
We could arrange a few of them to have pull-throughs, kind of in the existing area, but to modify and have most of them pull-throughs, that would really drive the cost up, and it would be tough to lay out with our current areas. Right now, each campsite has to have 2,000 square feet for their own quote-unquote property. So it'd be a little difficult to kind of lay out where you just drive through. I can certainly take a look at it, Christine.
I mean, could it be
I-
like a option to,
Yeah.
just to see what it could look like and
See if we can,
the cost?
yeah, if we can at least get some drive-through, maybe up 6 that would be capable of just driving through.
I just would also like to see maybe some more information about what's most desirable, especially for those type of communities, because people are constantly traveling around the country looking for those types of things. And so if we're gonna do this campground, we should do it right? To make it most attractive to the most people. So, one other question, in looking at the specs for the bathrooms and then the showers, is there any opportunity for or cost savings for that matter, where you're making just single shower/bathroom stalls versus having this men's and women's piece, since you already have the shower and the plumbing there. I think as a mom and thinking of family bathrooms, it is more easy for me to manage my family and going camping when we're all in the same place with the same utilities in one spot. And if it's all private, just curious about how that could be better utilized.
I can look at that too.
Okay.
You're thinking like a family bathroom.
Yes. And I don't know if we took a couple of the initial stalls in the first one and just put them into the shower spaces, but I think that would maybe make those better utilized for families who are camping. Okay, thank you.
So, do we need to have to hold off on this resolution? Table it? Who made the motion?
We have
I did.
Don
I did. I can
Cavalier
rescind it.
and then Clayton Briggs that
So you
seconded.
can rescind your motion?
Yes.
Okay, Don and Clayton rescind their motion, so we're gonna table this for next council meeting. Is that soon enough?
Yep, that's fine.
Rich, 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Table.
Rich, the other thing I've heard on this is the electrical side of that. If it floods and different things, do you have a plan for, any electrical gets wet, it's gone type of thing? So is it gonna be an annual cost to repair that or to replace it or?
Well, we have electrical down there now.
Right.
In the fall, they get down there, they pull the boxes off and shut the power off, and then in the spring, go back and hook it back up. So really that's kind of.
Is that code now? I'd heard that code as far as if it gets wet, it's gotta be tore up and regardless.
When the guts get wet, you have to pull it, but that's, if, looking at east sides, they have the disconnects, and when we were meeting, that's what we had looked at, was having the same setup they have as far as electricity. So you just pop it, take it out, and then you don't have to replace the inside stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so the resolution that approves specs for Central Park Campground we'll table it for 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Item 8.06 is a resolution to approve the City of Crookston Fire and Rescue Services Mutual Aid Agreement, Your Honor.
Motion to approve this resolution.
So move.
Thank you, Wayne. Joe, second, thank you. Discussion.
I think we should keep it at, agree to it. We've had the issues with the fire department helping out other fire departments in the surrounding area this past year with grass fires. I recommend that we go with it, or I suggest that we go with it. It's a good program.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion?
I guess any comment from the chief on that?
Yeah, this is just an extension of the current agreements that we have with 12 fire departments right in Polk County. We also have agreements with several fire departments outside of Polk County. And it works really well. We get manpower, equipment for any kind of man-made natural disaster. And it's a very good collaboration between all the fire departments. We might not only be the recipients, but helping our fellow firefighters around the area. It's a really good program to be a part of, so I appreciate your consideration.
All right, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Platt,
Aye.
Van Bratten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy,
Aye.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Kressel.
Aye.
Okay. Reports and staff. Amy?
I just have one thing. I just wanted to let everyone know that we do have our Human Resources is looking through right now the applications that we received for our Parks and Recreation Director position, to kind of categorize those for me if there were any that did not meet qualifications that we posted for. I should have those in front of me tomorrow, And then we're gonna be reaching out to set up an interview team, and we're gonna have park board representation, council representation, and likely that will be through councilperson Jurdy, since she does sit as the liaison to the park board. So know that that is still moving forward, and we hope to be bringing you a recommendation soon. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Amy, could you ever send out just what the job description was on that?
Sure.
I had a couple people that asked questions.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, so I'd like to see it, I think.
Yeah,
you know.
I will do that. I will likely send you a link that it's on our website. That way you can access it or share that also if anyone else is interested.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Amy. My understanding with department heads, because it's tough to hear you because you don't scream loud enough, you gotta come to the podium if you have something to add here. So we'll start with Chief Biermeyer.
You're never gonna get anything out of them.
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Tim,
No report, Your Honor.
thank you. Anything from Chad?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Brandon here? Yep. All right.
Go get him.
I figured I would break my silence here, and which there's a lot of road construction going on right now, and I know there's a lot of questions that come with that. So, the street crew tomorrow is going to start chip sealing the streets. So, if you see no parking signs around, please don't park on those streets and stay out of our way for that. The local road reconstruct by Davidson's has started this week. They're starting with doing some of the storm main work, and then 2 weeks from now, they plan to start subcutting streets and start that project. The water department replaced the water main on 2nd Avenue North last week. They were a short crew and they got it done in 1 week, so kudos to those guys. And we are currently looking for someone in the street department, so if you know anybody interested, send them my way for questions, and I hope to interview in the next couple weeks, hopefully. So that is all I have.
Thanks, Brandon.
Have you got a job description on that too? Driving truck and you name it?
Yeah, it's there's a job description on the website, so it's on CaroX's job shop right now. It's on the city website. Where else is it?
Facebook.
Facebook and the League of Minnesota Cities. So there's a few different options for them to find information on it. And
Okay.
like I said, I can answer any questions too and get them what they need. So
Sounds good, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Greg?
No report, Your Honor.
Scott?
No report, Your Honor.
Yeah, I guess not. Thank you. Start with Tom, welcome back.
Thank you. Yep. It was good to be gone, it was good to be back. But, no report tonight.
All right, Delane?
No report, Your Honor.
Joe?
Well, we just had in the paper picture at the north end welcome sign. It's now completely finished. All the landscape, everything. Most of you seen it in the paper. It looks really good. Stop out and check it out. I think it looks best at night with the new light put up on it, and it's very, very nice. That's it, Your Honor.
Thank you. Don?
The Crookston Chamber has hired their new director, Mark Landa from Grand Forks, and he has a lot of experience, and they have their first meeting this Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Anybody that would like to attend and meet Mark Landa, really nice guy. I've met with him, and he seems like he's really excited. And we also, the park board has completed the All Abilities Park in Carmen Park, and we are going to do that dedication shortly in the near future for people with all abilities, and it's an all abilities park, and it's really nice right now that kids can go over there, and we've got musical instruments that are there, and swings and whatever. So it's going to be nice to have a park like that in Crookston, Minnesota, sponsored by the Crookston Rotary Club. So $10,000 of equipment. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thanks, Don. Where's the chamber meeting?
At the chamber office.
Okay, thank you. Clayton?
I'd just like to thank the water department. I'm just around the corner from the water line put in the past week. It's amazing how quick it went, and Carlson answered a couple questions when I went over and talked to him, so I appreciate that. So good job. That's all I have.
Thank you. Steve?
Just hit on Crazy Days Thursday. I'd like to, Carrie Berquist, being short notice and short-staffed and no director, did a wonderful job throwing this together with little help, very little help, and I think it's, she's got food vendors, she got different things, so make sure you get out downtown 8 to 5 on Thursday and, you know, spend some money locally because businesses count on everybody to buy local.
Thank you, Steve. Christie?
Don't have anything to report from a meeting, but I will say, just a big shout out to Oxcart Days and the people who are working on that. It's amazing the amount of events. I get the opportunity to meet with Rod and Nell at the fair this weekend, and it's like over 100 events, and it's, you know, it's really impressive what this community is doing and coming together and bringing people to our town. And so just a real big thank you to them for all the hard work they've had.
Thank you, Christie. Wayne?
No report tonight.
Thank you. I just got a couple things. I'd like to thank the Rotary and Bros Chevrolet and Bruce and Patricia Erdman for making the donation to Park Board. It's much appreciated. I mentioned to Scott earlier, they kind of redid the boat or primitive access below the Gently Bridge. It's 100% better. I was down there, and if I can get out with my pickup, anybody can get out, so. And I'd like to offer my condolences to the Simmons family. Mary Ann was a fixture down here and all over town for many, many years. And so I just thought some prayers go out to them. No Ways and Means tonight. Nothing else to come to council. We are adjourned. Thank you for everyone that showed up tonight.